Right. So it is day 12 of only 15 days. Guys, after today, you only have 3 days left. That's so crazy.
You going the whole 3 days?
Oh, I think so. I think we are.
Yeah, she's letting us. She said, as soon as we finish our test over there, she said, we're done.
Oh, so is she doing like a final? This is your finals week?
Yeah, we can do finals either Tuesday or Wednesday. Some took theirs today, and they don't have to come back. Now,
Wow.
I'm rushing mine. I'm going to take mine tomorrow, but
Right.
a lot of studying. It's a lot.
Right, right. Well, you know, I don't know. Maybe I need to think about it. Because my thought process was I don't want to give you a final with how few days, but at the same time, if taking a final gives you the option to be done sooner, I don't know. Let me think on that. But today, we are reviewing inequalities.
Okay, this is another one. You added something.
So let's start with number 1. And number 1, we have 2x plus 1 is, what's this sign?
That's then
Greater than. That's okay. We read it from left to right. And as I move this way, I hit the big opening first. This is greater than. So I'll just make a little note of that. Greater than 11. So before we can graph this, we need to solve it. What should I do first to solve this?
You're going to start with the 1, right?
Yes. What should I do with that 1? Minus 1. On both sides?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So that's going to be minus take away.
Mm-hmm.
Cross that 1s out.
Good.
Yes. Subtract 11 from 1, and that will be 10.
10.
Then we're going to bring the 2x from our line. And then bring the 2x,
Is greater than 10.
which is greater. Yeah, I'm going to bring. Do we bring that down? Yes.
Yes.
And then, yes.
Yes, we're going to divide it by 2. My 2's cancel.
Yeah.
So I can bring x over
Yeah.
is greater than 5. Good. Okay. So we solved our inequality. I know that x is greater than 5. So how do we graph that?
Put 5 in the center.
Yes, put 5 in the center. And then what?
I'll put 5. Put it there. Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
What am I doing right here?
You graphed it. Oh, yeah.
We want to circle. Do I color my circle in? No, I don't color in my circle because we're not including 5. It's only numbers bigger than 5. And now which direction do I shade? To the plus sign because it's greater. We want to shade the numbers that are bigger than 5. Good. So this is what your graph will look like.
Okay.
And our answer is x is greater than 5. Okay. Perfect, perfect. All right. Did anybody get something different than that and maybe want to share the mistake they made that might help others learn? Or did we just all get it right? This is a bit of a review, but also it's been the weekend. We have slept. We forget things, and that's okay. How'd we do on number 1? You got it? Awesome. Okay. Let's look at number 2 then. Now I have x over 2 minus 3 is, what's that sign? Less than 12. So I want to solve first. How should I begin? Yes, plus 3 on both sides. We're going to cross out the 3's. Uh-huh. 12 plus 3 is 15. And next, what do I do?
Okay, we're gonna divide.
Now wait, what do I still need to do? I gotta bring it down. I still have x over 2 is less than 15. So remember, what does x over 2 mean? Divided by 2.
Yes.
So what would I do now? Multiply. Yes, we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. And what happens? My 2's, they're going to cancel out. Then what? 15 times 2 is 30. Good. So I'll bring down my x, bring down less than 30. That's our answer. That is our answer. Okay. Now, how do I graph number 2? Put 30 in the middle? Okay, then what? Circle. Yes, we're going to shade to the left for less than. Good. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. And remember, the best trick that I like to kind of teach is just draw the sign, the less than sign, next to the number that you just did. Since it's pointing that way, we shade that way. Same with greater than. My greater than symbol points towards the plus. So you're just going to shade in that direction. Okay, you guys got that? Alright, let's look at number 3 then. This one's a tricky one. There's 2 different ways we could start this problem. What's one of the ways we could start it? Say it louder. The plus 2? Ooh, that's a really good idea.
You're gonna do the lines.
Ooh, okay, so we have 2 options. Now, I see where you're wanting to do the plus 2 because in the rest of these, we would get rid of the plus or the minus first, but we have a special case here because of the parentheses.
Yes.
3 times.
Yeah, so
3 times.
we could divide or we could distribute.
Distribute, right?
So, how about we show how to do the distribute version, and then I'm going to show the divide version, and you can do whichever one you prefer. But when you see parentheses, we got to get rid of those first. Then we can get rid of addition and subtraction. So, if we were going to distribute, that's where we take 3 times 2x. 3 times that minus 2. And what would that do? 3 times 2x. 6x. And minus 2, what does that become when I multiply by 3? Yes, minus 6. Good catch. No x there. So now we have 6x minus 6. And what do I need to also do? Yes, let's bring everything else down. Greater than 30. Okay, so now the parentheses are gone. We can solve this one like normal. So what do I do from here? Plus 6. Good. And then what? Add the 30 plus 6. Yeah. And then the 6 cancel. Good.
Bring that down.
Yes, bring down 6x.
Then you less the greater.
And the greater than. Good, good.
Okay. And you got one more step.
One more step. You're right. What is that step?
Division.
Division. divide by 6 on both sides.
6 and 6, we're gonna go those only once.
Mm-hmm.
So that out is x greater than 36.
Oh, what'd we
I'm
forget?
sorry, divide the 6 and the 36.
Yes. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. So we got x is greater than 6.
Right.
Now this was the, I'm going to write to the side, distribute. And then we're going to show the division method, just because sometimes that way can be a little quicker, just depending on the problem. So I'm just going to rewrite it.
Okay.
2x minus 2 is greater than 30. Now you don't have to do it both ways, but both ways do exist, so I just want to show them. So Ayana, you were talking about the division method. Can you walk me through how to do it with that method? Yeah. Since this means 3 times what's in parentheses, to get rid of it, we could just divide by 3 on both sides. Okay? Good. 3's cancel. 2x minus 2 comes down. Greater than. And 30 divided by 3. What will that give us? 10. Yes, 30 divided by 3. 30 divided by 3 gives us 10.
If 2 becomes a 2 plus 2.
Yes, let's do plus 2 now. Good.
Bring it down, take it over.
Okay.
Cross that out.
Yes, my 2's cancel. We cross them out.
And then you add the 10, 11, 12.
Yes.
Then you bring down everything else. The
Mm-hmm.
greater sign is, now it's 2x now.
Yes. And then we divide. Divide by 2 on both sides. And they cancel.
Drop the 2, go down to x.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
6. Good. And look at that. We got the same answer. So both ways will work. It's really just whichever one you like to use better.
So it's still the same.
It's the same. This is also good to know that these both work, because if you remember back to our Unit 2 quiz, one of the bonus questions, I know some of you tried to use the division method and it was giving us funny numbers. If that happens, where you try to divide and it's not seeming to work, you can also try the other way and it will work. Now, the division method would still have worked. It was just giving us decimals, and sometimes decimals are really tricky to work with. So sometimes one way might feel easier, one way might not. So those are our options. How do we graph this one?
You put the 6 in the middle.
Yeah.
You
Circle.
the middle line.
Yeah,
And
good.
you go to your right.
To the right, towards the plus. Good. Good, good, good. And that's our greater than, so we shade towards the greater numbers. Very nice. Okay, so that was our do now. We've got all 3 of those done. And I'm going to teach you 2 more little symbols today. They're not super different from these. But before I do that, I want to make sure everybody has all of this down. Does anybody still need to see this? Or can I move it? You still writing? I can move it? Okay. I can make a copy. Remind me at the end of class and I'll make you a copy.
I want to put it in my
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we are going to start a fresh page in notes. And I'm going to go ahead and title my notes Pre-Alg. Unit 3. I know, I like using the Crayola markers. They're kind of nice to write with. And today is day 12. Notes.
Crayola's don't run like these other ones.
What other ones you got?
Play school runs.
Oh. It runs like in a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, in a bad way.
Uh-oh.
Some
Well,
of them.
if any of you, talking to you, Diane, if you need markers, I keep a ton of extras in that little wicker basket on that shelf. There's all kinds of colors in there right next to the pencil sharpener. So you guys are always welcome to steal from that. That's for y'all to use.
That thing was full of pins.
So here,
Let me see.
yeah, go check it out. I can wait a minute. There's a whole bunch of markers in there. Okay, so last time that we were here, we learned about inequalities, and now we are still learning about inequalities, but we're looking at a couple more different types of signs. So we know that this sign, what is this called? Greater. This is greater than. Greater than. Now here's a new one. We're going to draw the greater than one more time, but underneath the symbol there's a line. Not division. This is a mixture of a greater than symbol and an equal sign. What this means is greater than.
You said that last time.
Or equal to.
Okay.
So that just means if I got something like x is greater than or equal to 5, that means x can be any number that's bigger than 5, but it can also be 5. 5 can be included this time. With greater than, we don't include that 5. So we'll do some little example diagrams. Yes.
You said with the equal sign on the bottom, that could mean that that can be greater than.
Or it can be equal to. So it's saying like if x, I'll write this. If x is greater than or equal to 5, that means x can be bigger than 5. X can also be 5. It can be 5 or anything bigger. So with just greater than, like if I did x is greater than 5, x has to be bigger than 5. It can't be 5. And this is where it'll make more sense when we draw the picture with it, I think. So I'm going to start by giving us little number lines like this. Okay. And these will be our first two examples. So with greater than, we have our number 5. We have an open circle to show that 5 is not included, and then we shade to the right. Yes, yes.
Say that again.
The only difference is now for the equal to, we're going to write the 5. We're going to circle the tick mark, and just like Ayana said, we are going to color the circle in because now 5 can be an answer. So we color it to show that it is included. That's the only difference. Everything is exactly the same. We still shade to the right. That's not too crazy. We just color it. So if you see a line under the symbol, you color in your circle. No line, don't color.
Okay.
Line, color, no line, no color.
That's it?
Yeah, that's
Just
it.
by adding that one little equal sign.
That's it.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Okay, so we have our greater thans and our greater than or equal to. Now, I'm gonna write the next symbol. What's that symbol? Less than. I bet you can guess the next one. So we have less than. And now, boop, less than. Or equal to. And we'll draw some little diagrams for that as well. Give us an example. So we'll draw more number lines. Plus, minus. Okay, so for our examples here, I'm going to use the same number, but instead of greater than, we're going to use less than. So I have x is less than 5. And then we'll have x is less than or equal to 5. So for x is less than 5, how will I graph that? Put the 5 on the graph. I'll circle it. Do I color it in? Nope. Where do I shade? This way, towards the minus to the left. And this tells us that x can be anything that's shaded in, any of the numbers that are smaller than 5. But can x be 5? No, because it's not equal to. It's just less. Now, what's going to be the only difference in the last graph?
The subtraction. The line that's under the lesser sign.
We have less than or equal to. What will be different in my graph, my picture?
Same thing.
It'll be the same thing.
Well,
You got it.
The difference in the graph is that by being less than or equal to, you're going to put the 5 over the, what do you call it?
Well, there's not a real good name for it. I always call it the little tick mark or the dash.
Tick mark, okay. And you're going to circle, you're going to put 5 over, you're going to circle the tick mark, you're going to cover this one.
Yes.
That's going to be the only difference.
That's the only
That's only
difference.
because of the equal sign up under there, the less than.
That is right. That is right. So you will still color to the left for less. The only difference is now we include 5. We shade it in. So that's really the only difference, you guys. So if you have this in your notes, then I think you might be ready for this little assignment that I've made for you.
Yes.
I have a worksheet with 8 problems that I'm going to pass out. And it looks like this. I'll leave my notes up if anybody needs them. Yes, you're going to solve the inequality and then graph it. You'll just want to really pay attention to the sign. Pay attention to if it's got an equal to underneath. So let me pause this. Okay, so we've worked on that worksheet. Now I want to have us add one little note here. So I'm just going to shift my camera down. Now we have something that is called a compound inequality. Compound inequality. Okay, and there's two different types of compound inequalities. There are what we call and inequalities, and we have or inequalities. So I'm going to draw a little line kind of down the middle of my page to separate that. An example of an and inequality would be something like this. Maybe I have x is less than 10 and x is greater than 2. Now, this isn't one where I'm having you solve. I'm giving you my values already. The only difference is how we graph these. So, I'm going to draw a graph, or draw a little number line. And now, instead of one tick mark, there's going to be 2 tick marks. And we'll put our plus and our minus. Now, because there's 2 tick marks, and we're thinking of this like a number line, remember that on a number line, your numbers do go in a specific order. We always start from the smallest, and we get bigger to the largest. So before we graph, like here, if we had the x is less than 5, we would just put 5 on the tick mark. Now we need to decide, where does 10 go and where does 2 go? So, since we're starting with the smaller end, the smaller number goes first, always. Always. So, we can make a little note of that. The smaller number goes first. And then the bigger number goes next. So I have x is less than 10 and x is greater than 2. We're just looking at the numbers, 10 and 2. Which one is smaller? 2, good. So we're going to put 2 first. And where would 10 go? Just on the next tick mark, that's the only place there is for it. So 2 goes first because it's smaller, and then we have 10. So now, the only part that can be a little bit tricky about a compound inequality is making sure that we're shading in the right direction. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sort of use some colors to help me differentiate here. I'm going to use green for x is greater than 2, and I'll use pink for x is less than 10. Okay, so because I wrote 2 first, I'm going to look at my inequality with 2 in it first. If x is greater than 2, first of all, I've got my 2. Now let's think about the circle. Should it be an open circle or a closed circle? Open, because there's no equal to. So we're not including it. So we open, and then it's greater than. Which direction would we shade?
To the right.
To the right. Now don't shade it all the way yet. I'm going to have you for now just put a little arrow to point which way we shade. So now we're going to look at our next number, which is 10. And x is less than 10. Good. So what should I do for my circle? Open it or close it? Open circle. And which direction would I shade? To the left. To the less. And you'll notice that they are pointing towards each other. So what this means is we are going to shade in the middle. Shade in between. So when we have and inequalities, your answer will be shaded in the middle. And get shaded in the middle. An or is going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be shaded outside. But I'll give you an example to keep in your notes. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we have our and. Now for or, let's try x is greater than or equal to 12 or x is less than 3. Okay, so I will do the same thing. I'm going to draw a number line, a graph. Man, I'm really not good at drawing straight lines today. And we need 2 tick marks again because there are 2 values. And it's the same rule with which number goes first. We're still going to always put the smaller number first. Okay. So my compound inequality here is x is greater than or equal to 12 or x is less than 3. Which number should go first? 3. 3. So I am going to color code again. 3 goes first because it is smaller. And we'll put 12 on the other space. Okay. Now let's look at x is less than 3. Will our circle be open or closed? Open. Good. And then shade to the left or to the right? The left. It's less, so we shade to the left. And this time we can just go ahead and shade. Now 12, I have x is greater than or equal to 12. So my circle, is that going to be open or closed? Closed. Why am I closing this? We're including 12 because it could be greater than 12, but it could also be equal to 12. So we color it in. And what direction do I shade? To the right. Okay, so we can see the difference now. And inequalities, we shade in the middle, or inequalities, we shade outside. And a good way to remember this is and sounds more like inside, in between, and or starts with an O and we shade outside or outside and inside. So if that helps to write that, I'll write that real quick. And inside. And or would be outside. There we go. So there's your and versus or. Okay. So I'll leave that up for a minute for those of you that are still copying it down.
Remember that, Ron used to come on Saturdays, the junction,
What's your function?
And that or.
Oh my gosh, that makes me feel like I'm back in elementary school. I remember watching that on the big TV cart. Oh yeah, that's funny.
I don't know why it popped in my head.
I don't know. Probably the and the or.
Yeah, and or.
That is funny.
It's a great line.
Okay. Does anybody still need this? I can wait. Or are we ready to move forward? Are you still copying it, Jacqueline? Okay, take your time. I'm going to pause it for just a minute. All right, so I'm going to flip my page and label this page 2. The Algebra Unit 3, and I'm just going to write Day 12 notes continued. So, when it comes to compound inequalities, sometimes it can start to feel a little bit overwhelming because there are twice as many steps because there's 2 problems now. So sometimes it helps to have steps written out. So I am going to write up here how to solve compound inequalities. And we're going to use an example to help us. So I'm going to write, let's do 4x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 10. Let's see. And x over 3 less than 15. So, the first step in any compound inequality is we need to solve both of the inequalities first. So, number 1, solve both inequalities. And I'm leaving a little bit of space so I can solve them above for x. So that's step 1. And we'll do that now. So, let everybody get that copy. So looking at the 2 that we have, we'll start with 4x minus 2 is greater than or equal to 10. What would I do first here? I would add 2 on both sides. Okay. And then what? Cross out my 2's, they cancel. Bring down 4x. Then what? What'd you say? 12, perfect. And what else?
Bring down
Yeah, yes, bring down the greater than or equal to sign. Good, good. Okay, what do I do next? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. And 4's cancel. I'll bring down my x. Greater than or equal to. Perfect. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So, we have x is greater than or equal to 3. So I'll bring that down here just so I have it. X is greater than or equal to 3. And we need to solve for the next one. Yes, we have x divided by 3 is less than 15. So we multiply by 3 on both sides. My 3's will cancel. Perfect. And 15 times 3 is 45. So we get x is less than 45. So we've solved both of the inequalities. Yeah, that's exactly it, pretty much. So now that we've solved them, we're done with step 1. Step 2, and whenever you quiz over this, it'll be just like on this worksheet. I will give you a line to draw on to save some time. So step 2 would be decide which number comes first on your graph and which one comes second. So I'm going to just say decide which number goes first on the graph. And how do I know which number goes first? Yeah, which one is smaller? So it's always going to be the smaller one. Okay, so I will draw my graph and my 2 tick marks, plus, minus, and which number is smaller? 3. 3 is definitely smaller than 45. So I'm going to write 3 first, and then I can put 45 after that. And after that, there's really 1/2 more steps. So let's see, what do you think step number 3 might be? Yes, we need to choose if we need to color in our circle or leave it open, and you are correct. We have greater than or equal to. That greater than or equal to tells us we're going to color it in. So I'm going to say decide which numbers have open versus closed circles. So that would be the or equal to's get shaded. Okay, and then how about 45? That's a less than, so is that open or closed? Open. Good. And we have one more step. What's the last step? The shading. We want to see which way does the arrow point. That's going to tell us which way to shade. Are these pointing towards each other or away from each other? Towards each other. They're pointing into each other. This is also an and inequality. That's also going to give you a hint. If it says and, you're always shading in the middle. If it says or, you would shade outside. So I'm going to write shade. And I'm going to draw a picture for this one. Shade like that for and. Or shade outside for or. Okay. So this is your helper guide for if you ever get to a point where you're trying to solve a compound inequality and you get stuck. Now we've got all the steps written out. So you can go back and see how we did it in the past. Now, it is, let's see, 2:07. I will leave this up if you still need to write it, but today, once you have these notes done, written down nice and neat, and you have that worksheet done, you are free to go. That's the plan. So, now we know. I'm going to end our recording there. Please make sure that you have your worksheet checked by me before you go, or if you've got places to be, it's just due by Friday. So, the worksheet. Yes, it's due by Friday. So if you would rather work on it outside of class, that is perfectly fine. But you're also welcome to stay in here and work on it too. But that is it for today. So I hope y'all have a good rest of your day.